Let's go. Woo! AMA, AMA, Vinaya, Andrew. Here we are going live. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the inaugural. Is that the right word? Anyway, the first AMA, but it's us. So I'm going with AUA, which most people will not be like, what's that? Well, we want you to ask us anything because we're a little bit bored of asking each other questions. We're so smart and wise that we both know each other's answers. So yeah, why
Yeah,
not get others involved, right, Vinaya?
yeah, absolutely. It's getting pretty boring because we actually don't need to talk anymore.
Yeah, we are so simpatico that we just nod to each other.
Yeah. Or shake the head like an Indian Baba.
Yeah, I definitely suppose I have to draw the line at that. A Caucasian British person doing an Indian impression.
Mm. Oh.
But anyway, let's not go down that road because we are here to talk about power, abuse of power, masculine power. Is there even any difference between the genders with power? So we have a lot of questions, guys. Thank you. Thank you so much for taking the time to, most of you DM'd me actually, and I understand why. Some of these questions are quite personal. So thank you for that. Vinay, is there anything you'd like to say before we dive in?
No, I'm curious about the questions because I don't know them myself.
Oh, did I not share them? I'm very sorry. I kept them to myself.
I'll have
What
to
a
be surprised.
selfish man. Typical man. Who remember read the room, Andrew? Who's the audience? Yes. What is a typical man? I have yet to meet one.
Yeah.
Okay. The first question is in the context of people, humans.
Mhm.
What is power for humans to you, to us?
In context of evil power,
Of to humans. So I mean, obviously, you could tell me. I guess what they're trying to avoid is electricity, energy. I think they mean for human beings when we say I have or don't have power. What is power?
oh, I see. Okay, get it. You want to hear my take?
Of course, I yes, I am very much here to be the court jester to your king. So go ahead.
So for me, there's two kinds. One, where the word power actually fits. And for me, that is, yeah, it's like I'm powerful, I'm strong, I'm in a powerful position, I can put influence, and that's more like a physical situation. Sometimes a mental and emotional situation, if I emotionally overpower somebody or mentally overpower somebody. It's always with the aim of changing something or achieving something with a kind of force. And then, and we do have power, but that kind of power I would call abilities. I am able to do something very good, very strongly. That gives me a certain power, one could say. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. I've heard you use that word before, abilities.
Mhm.
Power, um, correct me if I'm wrong, you said power gives us abilities or power is an ability? Wait, how would you express that?
An ability is a certain kind of power.
Okay. So to be able to sing well is a power.
One could say, yes,
Yes.
yes. And now, when we, I mean, singing is a little bit difficult to say you can do something negative with it, but it's like the misuse of that ability would then jump into the realm of the physical power or the emotional and mental power to overpower somebody.
I get it.
And so
Yeah.
doing
I
something.
abuse that power every night to make my daughters go to sleep.
Yeah, well, sometimes it can be beneficial, but it's basically really power in a certain way, the sort of non-beneficial side, I don't want to say negative side, comes from the mind, comes from the analytical story.
Yeah.
And abilities or the inherent power of abilities comes from the heart, comes from the emotional side of the brain. And so, in a certain way, when I use my abilities, my power from the heart without trying to overpower somebody, just to share or to enlighten or to make aware, it will be always beneficial. When I come from the power of my mind, telling you how wrong you are and you should do it this way so you become enlightened or whatever, um, that is a misuse of power.
So there is no, in a sense, good and bad power. It's the intention that makes it good and bad.
Yes, it's like the knife is not bad. It
Yeah.
depends what you do with it. The gun is not bad. Depends what you do
Right.
with it.
DMX said it best. Guns don't kill people. People kill people. Right? You know what I'm saying,
Yeah,
dog? Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. I mean, I was thinking in terms of you having feeling or having power, using that power, and then the outcome doesn't turn out to be as good as you had hoped. Like you use the power to study, you to be diligent and study really hard, and yet you don't make it to the university you wanted to go to. So you curse the power, if you like. However, what I'm very quickly drawn to, and I don't want to go off topic, is you don't know how that temporary outcome at that particular moment unfolds for the rest of your life, which might be the best thing that ever happened to you. So we're not going to go down that road because power is power. There's good intention and bad intention, and I think that's a
yeah.
good place to have understanding when we move forward, right?
And we never, ever know if that is beneficial or not. We just know that feels right and then we do it.
All right. Let's go to are you happy to have a personal question?
Sure.
All right. When have you, if ever, personally abused your own power?
I was tempted once, and that was really interesting. I was doing a group facilitation in an ashram in India, and as a facilitator, you were supposed to wear a black robe with a white sash. And I was a hippie, but I was very good at certain things, so I was able to lead a group because there was some, yeah. So I was the same hippie. But when the first time I went through the ashram in my black robe, I was intensely treated different. There was kind of like a wow. And I could feel that, wow, they give me power.
Like a good wow, like an in awe of you kind of power? Like,
Yeah, because I have a black robe, so I must know something. I must be, more evolved or so suddenly you
I'm
were
sorry.
this robe
The leaders have the black robe.
just by having the black robe. And I was
Uh,
like, wow. And then I could see that this kind of situation, when you have a certain authority or people think you do, they put you up. And then you can feel that there is power you have over them. And I had this kind of like temptation a couple of times. One time with a woman who just opened up to me and said, "Do whatever you want," just because I was had a certain energy of presence or whatever. Yeah. There would be a misuse of power if I would have gone for it.
I'm sorry, did you abuse your power?
If I would have gone for the
Yeah. Did you?
temptation,
So you're saying you didn't, to be clear.
no, I didn't.
Ah,
So I
boring
was,
story. Next one.
yeah,
Next story. Come on. We want to know when you abuse the power, man.
I did not.
I've never.
Not that I remember. I mean, there
Hmm.
must have been something in my past where I did it, but I don't remember. No, no, I was
Yeah.
always very conscious of the where the persons are coming from, and also very happily accepting a no, because I
Mm.
could that is honest. And I never really liked when it was a yes, and but outside, but inside it was a no, and like, well, I'm not even interested. I don't know if that
Yeah.
answered you, but I was never. I don't remember ever having misused my abilities.
Yes. Yeah. Fair. I mean, yeah, fair enough. I think that sets the tone anyway, the example of, because all you had to do was, proceed a little further, and there wouldn't be much difference, but you would have abused your power. So, and I also think that what's actually interesting is how you define the situation, because to another man or another person, they might see it, or they could be persuaded, or they could sell it in the sense that it is my power slash authority, my duty to give this woman what she's offering to me, because when someone offers something to you, it's a duty and a blessing to take it from them if they genuinely want to give it to you. But that becomes very complicated. So
Yeah,
I'm quite happy to just put that out there.
yeah. I mean, in this case, it was obviously because there was a reverence,
Mm.
and it necessarily. I didn't feel it had actually anything to do with her actual desire. It was more like maybe also an ego trip. If he
Mm.
accepts me, then I'm also something good. I don't know, but it was not like just coming out of presence. So one wants to be really aware of one's own stories and
Mm. Yeah.
triggers and emotions, and yeah, and then one
For
can make the
me,
right.
yeah. But for me, I I think there are, well, there's so many. There's so many. Ac- Actually, we're the opposite maybe, but there in my drinking days before getting sober, I think I was, well, I'll give an example. And I could be drunk or could not have been drunk, but living in Korea as a British man, a Caucasian British man, as an English teacher, I think there's unfortunately plenty of opportunities where we are given, I would say personally, unearned respect and leeway and grace. I think we should all give each other grace, but way too much, way too much. Like there were times where I was delinquent to a state where I would have fired myself for sure, at least. But anyhow, it was accepted and even given sympathy to, and I knew it would happen. Right? I knew that I just had to turn up, rub some soap in my eyes, and look really tired and tell them I have food poisoning, and they would accept it. Even if they didn't believe it, they would, I could abuse that power, or that, abuse their, I don't know
Innocence.
what I can't speak for them, but whatever it is that made them, because if a Korean teacher had done it, it would have been a very different story. They would have argued, there would have been debate, there would have been proof needed from a doctor, all that stuff. So there's been plenty of times like that with employment where I have abused my power because either I knew they couldn't afford to do anything else, like lose me or fire me. Like I knew the status of the situation of the the work, the company, or I had such low respect for myself and for them that I abused the power anyway. So yeah, I've definitely been down that road, and it's I'm grateful to have the experience because I can pass it on and encourage people not to go down that road because it sucked. I dealt with a lot of guilt and I dealt with a lot of shame and I had to do, amends and apologies. But yeah, I've definitely done that.
Good lesson. No, you don't.
No, well, yeah, not so much. I'm a bit of a rage, a rage against authority kind of person. It might not seem it, but if I feel like there's rules that work in my favor, I will use them to the max. There's a cultural thing about not having sick days over here, for example. They do exist on paper, but not really in practice. And I'll make sure I enforce them. And they'll say, no, you should still come in. I'll be like, I'm coughing and sneezing and it's probably contagious. Oh, you should still come in. That's the way we do it. And I'm like, no. And I will, assert my authority, even though I don't really have authority. Anyway, let's move on to the next question. I'm rambling. Would you like a more general question? Yes. Okay. Is toxic masculinity a real thing, or has it become a convenient label for any male behavior that people dislike?
I would say yes to the last part.
So it
Any
has
behavior
become a label.
or any
Okay.
behavior somebody dislikes.
So does that mean it's not a real thing, it's just a label,
Well, what
or
does it
both?
mean? What does it mean?
If it, to me, if something is toxic, it is damaging, hurtful when when you come in contact with it, whether it's surface level, ingested. If something is toxic, it is damaging and hurtful.
Right. So that I would not just put onto toxic masculinity. I would probably say toxic humanity,
Right, right. Talk,
humanitarian, because we all can be toxic, and it has nothing to do with being a man. It's
sure,
just because
sure.
I'm like whatever I am,
Yeah.
and
And then there's
we're like,
toxic things that are reasons that are safe in small quantities. Like I might trigger some people. Trigger warning, fluoride in toothpaste, for example, right? It's a toxic
yeah,
substance when it's in high quantities, and yet 99% of the world, I think, or something like that, use it in the morning and night with their toothpaste. So, but yeah, toxic masculinity. So masculinity is just another example of when something is done wrong or poorly, it can be toxic.
yes, yes. So, and just because I'm a man doesn't make it any worse when I do something
I,
toxic.
I haven't looked at the rest of the questions, but without maybe it'll be there or maybe it won't be. But is the opposite also available? Toxic femininity? I mean, I guess it
I
must be,
heard
but I
it,
haven't heard it, I think.
never heard it, and that's like what I said in the beginning. For me, it's like, what are you talking about? It's like a person, a toxic personality that exists, absolutely positively, yes. And that has nothing to do with a man or a woman. That has just something to do with the personality of that person. And yes, that exists. And if it's accidentally a man, then it's been said it's toxic masculinity. No, it's just toxic personality. And accidentally he's a man, but women can do the same thing. So yes, there's toxicity, definitely.
Great. I'm glad that wasn't a complicated answer, really, because meh. Okay, here's a good one. Has and I think I don't know. You tell me if I overthink this, Satyam, Vinaya, but when when something says modern, Where do we
Hmm.
draw the line from what is modern and what isn't? I'll give you the question in just a second. Well, I'll give you the question. The question is, has modern culture, accidentally or not, created a generation of men who are afraid of their own strength?
I would say then, like the reason or the what was the word? The
Modern.
kind of modern culture would I would then say would be now what would be the teenagers and 20s.
So current generation, maybe teenagers, and so Gen A, Generation A.
Or whatever. I don't know the numbers. I would say that. And yes, I think that's true through various methods and various reasons and various incidences. And again, that also applies to everybody. It's not just a man thing, except that as a man, there was supposed to be an outward strength and solid and all what these ideas were. And in the end, it has nothing to do with being a man, but that is gone. Yes, it's one of the main reasons why we don't have our real strength in my book is that we do not have experiences anymore. We just sit all day in front of the computer or the telephone, even if we go in a park or we're not on the playground. Here in Mexico, I see children playing on the playground. Wow. In Germany, no, the playgrounds are empty. They all sit on the bench on the phone. There is no experience. There is no life experience. So there's no strength. Any situation which is not be able to be researched on the phone is going to freak me out because I have no idea how to deal with it. So that's a general situation, I believe, at this time where we get more and more disconnected from reality and live in a box. Not just the box we've been programmed in, but really a box where, yeah.
Mm,
Does it
okay.
answer the question?
Yeah, I'm happy with that. Absolutely. My feeling is that, I mean, yes, I agree. However, I'm immediately drawn to my childhood, which would be being raised by my parents. I guess it was their generation, was it? So, boomers or whatever they're called, people who were born in the 60s and 70s. Um, Masculinity then was very much, I mean, if what we are in now is toxic, then that must have been toxic because, men are the leaders, men are the boss, men work, women stay home, men bring home the bacon, all those expressions that we learned.
Yeah.
So modern culture, I think if you had to like if you have a large enough sample size, I think yes, they have created a culture of men who are afraid of their own strength because there's been so much widespread media, not necessarily mainstream like BBC or whatever, but mainstream media, whether it's TV shows or documentaries or whatever, about men being bad because of their bad behavior. And I
Right.
think whether it was, I don't think it was intentional. I think it was just a way to try to shift the needle between, the swings of power maybe, but it went too far and it's created a generation of young men who don't know what to do because if they say hi to a woman, it's a 50-50 chance of whether they'll be like, oh, did you talk to me? Oh my God. Versus, oh yeah, hi. Like it's like what are the consequences of my actions as a man? People I think a lot have lost faith in what they do as being good as opposed to what they do as being hurtful. So yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
Okay. How do you feel about the idea of a good man? Is being a good man sometimes just another form of manipulation?
Well, if I would be a good man in order to achieve something, then it would be definitely a form of manipulation.
Mhm.
Yes. And what does it mean being a good man? What does it mean to be good? Right? And,
What does it mean to mean?
well, I think, yeah, anyway, so I guess the definition of a good man is the classical definition of a man, of the archetype of a man. That in my book is absolutely wrong. I mean, I can have these abilities or ways of being, but that's not because I'm a man. That's because I feel right doing that or being like that. And for me, again, this is funny. We are talking about men, but all this also applies to the women.
Mm.
If I want to be a good man, for me, the only way is to be a good me, meaning to be a true me and not
True.
playing.
I would just like to say, though, I haven't heard anybody use the expression good women finish last.
Eh?
Good guys always finish last, that kind of idea, right? The good guys, they don't get chosen by the pretty girls, they don't get the accolades, they're just a good guy.
Yeah. And if I would be that good guy and I will not be chosen because I don't have the drive, because I'm absolutely content and fulfilled with what I'm doing, and I'm not really pursuing something which my father told me I'm supposed to do. I'm myself. Then I'm not finishing last. I'm way better off than the guy who's trying to be the first.
Yeah, yeah. So if you're living in earnest, if you're living in authenticity, it's a moot
Yeah.
point in a way.
Yeah, because I'm already happy. I'm content, So why it's like this is okay, this is great. This rich industrialist was walking on the beach and he saw a fisherman having a smoke and relax at his boat. So the rich guy goes like, "Hey man, why don't you go out fishing? There's so many fish out there." The fisherman said, "Oh, I got my catch for the day. I'm resting now." Man, if you would go out now, again and again, you get so many fish that you can buy some more boats. And when you have more boats, you get more fish, then you have more money. And then you can sit down and relax. And the fisherman said, "Well, that's what actually I'm doing. But I don't need to work my ass off to be able to sit down and relax and enjoy the moment. I
Yeah.
have." So, yeah, I don't know. That just came to mind. I love that story because it's like really showing like when we want to be good means that I'm rich, that I'm like can do this or can do that. Is that really your
There's no contentment with the present being, right? Is what I'm seeing, what I heard from in that. Like the rich man, he's always moving the goalposts of what success is.
yeah? And he's never fulfilled because it's always a little bit further ahead, a little bit further
Yeah,
ahead.
yeah,
But
that's good.
you know, yeah.
All right, here's one for us. Have you ever felt, or if yes, when have you felt most powerless as a man? Have you ever felt powerless as a man? If yes, when was the time you felt most powerless?
That was
I
when,
have an answer.
oh
Go
yeah,
ahead.
you have good one? Tell me first.
Oh, well, both times my wife was giving birth. When she was giving birth, I felt completely useless, powerless. Um, Even when she asked for something, it wasn't the right thing. Whatever. But yeah, that moment where she was doing it, and I was just like, all I can do here is pray. All I can do here is stand by and be ready. And I just, yeah, that was quite a moment of not just because I was a man, but yeah, feeling powerless. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, yeah. I have a few experiences where, and it's basically always when a partner or a friend is suffering and you can do nothing. And it drives me nuts. It's, I'm, it's now I kind of like learned that. So my partner has an intense headache. We did whatever we could. The headache doesn't go away. So there's nothing I can do. So I can just be present and see and just let go of trying to force to do something and not having a problem with it because there's nothing I can do. And then I'm available if something can be done. And sometimes nothing can be done.
I'm glad it's not my headache.
Yeah,
Mm.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Or when a
fair enough.
partner's in a hospital and almost dies and you have to wait there because
Terrible.
it's not in your hands if the person dies or not. I had that experience.
Mm.
Um,
Do you mind if I adapt the question to you a little bit? Because I'm interested if the powerlessness, the feeling of powerlessness, because one answer could be, I know that we're never truly powerless, therefore I've never experienced it. So how about has the feeling of powerlessness ever overtaken you? And if so, how did you get it back?
no,
No.
no, no. It's like when you recognize you become aware that okay, there's nothing you can do, and yeah, that kind of hurts, but that's nothing I can do about that either.
Okay.
Ah, then it's still there, but it's not running me anymore. I'm not going like trying to do something which I know it's not possible. You try
Mm.
something 10 times and you think when you do it another 10 times it works. Probably not. So I just relax and just be present with that feeling. And then you can be present with a partner who has a challenge. So that's even something very helpful as well, even though the headache doesn't go away, but maybe just a touch or sitting beside or making a coffee or what, it can be beneficial. But basically, yeah, I'm powerless.
Okay. All right, let's try this one. Let's see if we can get him, everybody. um, hmm, I've lost the question. Where is it? Oh, yeah, dangerous trait. What does your partner or an ex-partner, a child or close friend think is your most dangerous trait?
I don't understand that question. Come again?
Of all of your traits, your character traits, um, what would someone close to you, a spouse or ex-spouse or child or close friend or ex-friend or whatever, say might be your most dangerous quality or trait?
Sarcasm, not dangerous, but annoying.
Well, I mean, something that's annoying can be dangerous depending on how you define danger. It's not life-threatening, but it could be relationship danger. But yeah.
And otherwise, let me see, what would be dangerous? I don't think I'm, except in my mind, when somebody attacks my partner, I have a gazillion ways of killing that person. I'm actually
Well,
not dangerous.
funnily enough, that is the next question. If you had to kill your partner, how would you do it?
I
Oh
had to
no.
kill my.
If you had to kill somebody threatening your partner, I'm sorry, that was a fraudulent slip. Yes, if you had, no, that's not the next question anyway. Forget that. That's just me being stupid. Um, yeah. So a minus murder of somebody threatening your partner. Any other, do you have any other? I mean, dangerous is such a spectrum, right? Like,
Yeah, so, but one would be able to recognize what's going on. So if I would see somebody not molesting, but getting too close and being too weird, close to my
yes,
partner, even though I'm not that strong, but I don't take no for an answer. So I have various ways in my mind that I can even overcome big dudes. I would definitely go in between or say something and
yeah,
bring the attention to me. If it would be something where it's obviously that is physical danger or what, I get whatever, by whatever means in my ability, make the guy stop. And yeah, so it's basically really being present and
right,
seeing what is necessary to relieve the danger in that moment. And so basically, whatever is necessary.
yeah. A dangerous man. Yes, I thought of it from a different angle,
Hmm.
and it's a danger to myself, which can, put ripple effect into my family and loved ones. But I think my most dangerous trait is, I don't know how to describe it. Maybe it's a couple of things, but um, passivity or um, the ability to ignore a clear and present issue.
Hmm.
There's a word I'm thinking of, but it's anyway. I think that is a trait that I have, and it comes up like related to procrastination and hesitation and fear of failure, fear of rejection, things like that. However, that is definitely a skill or ability or trait that I have used and has hurt myself, and I know has affected other people too. So, yeah,
Hmm.
that was probably one of the first things I had to work on when I started coaching myself. Or well, I had a coach first, but anyway, yeah, coaching myself to deal with that, take
Yeah.
ownership of my life.
Ah, yes.
That's a good thing. I mean, I'm
It's
I'm
great.
I'm not I used to fear that people would use these answers against me if they knew things like that. Maybe that's a dangerous trait, but I'm over it. Um, I try to own my good and perceived bad
Yeah,
elements equally because they're both me.
yeah,
One
we're
feeds
human.
the other, one helps the other.
Yeah, we're humans.
All right. Are you ready for one more? Have you got time?
We can have one more.
One more. Okay. Is modern, okay, here's that word modern again. Is modern society asking men to carry responsibility without giving them authority?
Wow, I have to think about that one. Society wants men to have response. No, say that again.
Is modern society asking men to carry responsibility? I'm feeling the word burden of responsibility, maybe, but to carry responsibility without giving them authority, I guess, to act on it is what I'm thinking, but
Ah, okay,
responsibility without authority.
so who are you to give me authority?
Right? Yeah.
I don't need your permission. I am an authority because I know what I'm doing. I fulfill my responsibility, and that automatically gives me an authority. I don't need to ask your permission. So like it's not the role of society to give me authority. I take that myself out of my
Yeah.
presence, out of my lived authority.
Yes, I agree with that. So our duty or our age we have agency, and yeah, that's what I meant by ownership as well. Like the authority comes from me taking ownership for my own life and my own results.
Yes.
But what about the responsibility? Does society ask men to carry responsibility that's unfair or unclear or something like that?
The only responsibility I carry is the responsibility I decide to take. I don't fucking care what anybody else tells me what my responsibility is.
Sure.
That's your idea.
Well,
But
let's take the position of being like we're high council people and we're trying to make the world a better place. Do we need to curtail the media or the powers that be to stop projecting this authority, this responsibility onto men? I know that we should just say, hey, men, you do know it's your choice, right? But that's not the way the world works. Agenda, propaganda, marketing, like,
you know, there's many people who want to change the world, and it's been tried gazillions of times, and it never worked for the sole reason that the one who did it didn't do the inner work and
okay.
didn't become sovereign. And the only way to really change something is to take responsibility for myself. Never mind what you do. I am responsible to wake up, get out of the story, and decide for myself. And that gives me an authority. And that can, in fact, or harmonize with other people so that they can take the authority. And the more people do that, the more there is a chance that we do achieve the 100 monkey effect.
Writing
You know what?
Shakespeare,
No, it's
typewriters. No.
it's scientifically proven if you have any given mass, and they tried it with argon liquid, argon, and it's not in coherence. Every atom goes all the way around the place, right? Then for some reason they made it possible to bring some of the liquid into coherence where they all are aligned, and found out when they reach 1%, boom, the whole liquid is in coherence.
Okay.
And they started trying that out with, there was some scientists in Japan on an island who taught monkeys to clean their food before they eat it. So they learned that. One monkey learned it. That monkey taught the other monkeys. And so all the monkeys on the island learned to clean their food before they eat it. And without connection to the mainland, suddenly all the monkeys on the mainland knew to wash their food before they eat it. That's why it's called the 100 monkey effect.
Okay.
Because a certain amount of mass in a given mass reach some vibration, some frequency, some state of being, the whole mass just jumps into the same thing. So we can change the world by changing ourselves in the sense of really finding out who I am and what is right for me right now, and taking the responsibility and enjoying making mistakes and learning from it, and surely but surely go into my power. And that is nothing to do with being a man or a woman or what. Thanks.
Thank you, Vinaya. Yeah, I do not have anything that profound to say. What came up for me though is whatever the questions you asked and we didn't answer them, we can always answer them next time. However, for me, the message was clear. It's down to you. Whatever question you're asking, the answer is in you. And the chances are, if you're not drunk or high, if you just listen a little bit more, you'll hear the answer in you, right? That's what I think. And whatever concepts and constructs and stories, the media, society, whatever you think is telling you, no one says you have to listen. And I think what I heard from Benaya is listen to yourself instead.
Yes.
So that's my finishing monologue, gentlemen.
Wonderful.
All right, it's been a wonderful session, and I felt like there were so many people with us in spirit. We did get lots of great questions, and we have a lot left over for next time as well. So we'll give you guys more notice for the next
Yeah,
one. I mean, would you like to say, Vinaya, at the same time next week on a regular Wednesday or your
sounds like
Tuesday?
a plan. Sounds like a plan.
All
Yes.
right. So if you're watching this same time next week. Goodbye, everybody. Stay extraordinary, step into your own authority and power, and yeah, live your best life. How do I end the live stream?